This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Hello, my name is Daniel Greenfield, and this is another Daniel Greenfield moment. Today I'm going to talk about something that we're all thinking about. Trump's first day in Washington, D.C. And in this episode of the Greenfield Moment, the Glazov Gang, I'm going to give you some of my impressions of my time in D.C. and of the great struggle ahead. In the first days of 2017, when I was in Washington, D.C., the city was empty. It was holding its breath. Secret Service police officers waited at the White House as black SUVs carrying departing staffers passed. Not too long ago, those same staffers came into the city as if they owned it and the entire country through it. Now the same men and women who ran it and who ruined the lives of millions were sitting in sports bars and scrolling through job postings on their smartphones. They watched Obama speak from faded screens, and they cried, because they knew it was coming. They won. The parties and the protests are underway. Hundreds of thousands of Americans and anti-Americans have converged on the city. Tea Party housewives from Milwaukee's suburbs and snarling Marxists from the Answer Coalition, small businessmen from Houston and Berkeley J20ers out shouting the schizophrenic homeless panhandlers at Union Station. While Trump and Pence were at St. John's Episcopal Church, Black Lives Matter was howling abuse at D.C.'s black police officers. When Trump took his oath of office, the Futurist Feminist Counter-Inaugural Action tried to disrupt the event. When Trump spoke to unify America, leftist protesters smoked pot on a National Mall. But they knew that they couldn't stop what was coming. The crying Obama staffers loading boxes into their cars, and the Marxists biting their lips as they color in their signs on the steps of the Jefferson Memorial can feel it. The pundits of the Post, the non-profit environmental parasites, and the entire cocktail party circuit can sense it. Day one is more than just a day. It's the end of an era. It's the end of Obama. Berlin, November 1989. Moscow, August 1991. Washington, D.C., January 2017. That's the closest you can come to describing it. It's the fall of an evil empire. There are breaths of fresh air as the cleansing rain washes away 8 years of oppression, lies, and corruption to the sewers of the city. That's day one. Trump has executive orders ready to go. While the ceremonies run their course, the real change is already on the way. The parade that really matters is the slow march of Obama's minions leaving and Trump's people coming in. The transition originally began as a trickle, a few here and there, but it's swiftly becoming a takeover. The landing team members moved in, and Obama's people are moving out to be replaced by the so-called beachhead teams. What started with dozens and hundreds will become thousands. These clashing armies, they wear uniforms of black suits and skirts, they wield smartphones and task lists, and they run the country. When Obama talks about the peaceful transition of power, the peaceful transfer of power, that's what he really means. A force of men and women the size of a small army will leave, and another will arrive and take their place, and they will do it without a shot being fired. That transition will not be entirely peaceful. We've seen fires, arson, vandalism, windows being smashed, and hundreds of arrests. And the boycott of the inauguration by House Democrats, especially the Congressional Black Caucus, is a rejection of the peaceful transition of power. The roadblocks, barricades, and fences were there to block the radical left's plots to physically shut down the inauguration. But meanwhile, their political allies in Congress are building roadblocks and barricades to jam up Trump's nominees in endless committee sessions and hearings. They know they can't stop day one, but they're doing everything that they possibly can to slow it down. Their battle plan is to confirm as few of Trump's people as possible. The longer it takes to get new leaders into place, the longer it will take those leaders to bring in new people to make reforms. They want to keep everything temporary. So the endless hearings aren't just political theater. They're an organized effort by the left to retain control of the government for as long as possible while tangling Trump's agenda in red tape. The protesters and the politicians, the left, both sides of the left have the same agenda. They want to stop reform from day one. Now, if you walk past the White House, which is a modest building, and you can arrive at the Eisenhower Executive Office Building, which is the monstrosity that Mark Twain once called the ugliest building in America. This is actually where the Patriots have been struggling to overthrow the Obama administration. Forget the balls, the truly fancy footwork is going to happen as Trump's beachhead teams try to take over parts of the government. The real protests are not going to be the freak shows with giant signs, mock heads, pink costumes, and joints. It's going to be a grim battle fought in the undercity of the bureaucracy, and it's going to be an unrelenting battle that will go on for years. As Trump took his oath of office, moving trucks were transporting the Obama occupation out of the White House. And when all the moving trucks have transported away the last of the occupation, the project of actually cleaning up the government will only just be beginning. Because despite the roadblocks and the sabotage, day one is here. Team Trump is ahead of schedule and under budget. A fifth of the funds are even being returned. When the t-shirts are sold and the flyers are carried away in trash bags, there will be a new government. And for the first time in 8 years will be an American government. That is what day one really means. Not an era, but an era has ended. Day one means the restoration of freedom and the end of tyranny. It means security at home and respect abroad. It means change. Now you see all those people crying and howling in the streets. There were those who celebrated and those who mourned the fall of the USSR. And so too there are those who celebrate and those who mourn the end of Obama. The tears of leftist hipsters crying over Obama are no different than those of the old women you see holding up red velvet Stalin portraits on May Day in the Red Square. As the day ends with the Liberty and Freedom Ball, millions will celebrate because these words have meaning once again. They will celebrate because they've been liberated and now they are free. Day one means many things to many people. Most of all, it means that millions have reason to hope. After midnight, and the last days of the year, I stood at the Lincoln Memorial. Though millions visited, it was night and the vast space was empty. The first Republican president, white and silent, watched over Washington, D.C. in the night. And it was empty. It was peaceful, still, and empty. Or it was almost empty. As I watched, a large rat scurried down the steps and vanished into the shadows. Mr. Lincoln watched it go, as he now watches Obama depart. The old administration had barricaded him in during its government shutdown, but the barricades are coming down, and the rats, four-legged and two-legged, are running away. An old era has ended. A new one has begun. Thank you so much for listening to this Greenfield moment on the Glazov Gang. If you would like to continue supporting moments like these and the rest of the quality programming of the Glazov Gang, please subscribe to the Glazov Gang YouTube channel and help contribute and donate to the Glazov Gang to keep these types of shows alive.